Okay, so we are going to be live. And hi, welcome to Women Who Lead Conclave by NETRI Foundation. And I am so thrilled because when we were conceptualizing this, we said no celebrities, only real NETRIs, only real people who are actually going to be the celebrities of tomorrow. Cross my heart. And I was so excited, to look at the journeys of each one of you. We are on the third panel now. We've had two since morning. The first one was women as contestants, right? And we had somebody contesting at the MLA, to somebody who's done the Mukhya level election, somebody who's now just filed their nomination, and somebody like who's already been in the position of power because she contested twice and won it. That kind of range of women who are wanting to be in politics, to campaigners, to women who have not taken the electoral stride, but they are saying redefining politics is the key word right now. That it's not only electoral politics, but actually making politics accessible and influencing the processes by being a campaigner was the theme of the last panel. And now over to you. A lot of excitement has come for this panel. What are political entrepreneurs? What are each one of them doing? How are they making politics more professional, but they also have a very organized approach to doing what they want to do. So again, those who don't know NETRI Foundation, NETRI is an incubator and aggregator for women in political ecosystem. We run programs to equip women to become contestants, become political trainers, organizers, political entrepreneurs, and find their place and their voice within the political ecosystem. We have been like, this is our third year running, and we wanted to celebrate. I especially wanted to celebrate it with women who give me hope and who are doing some amazing, fantastic work. We have on our panel today, first person that I'm going to name is Akshi Chawla, who's going to do the moderation for this panel. She runs a very interesting project 78 Represent Watch. It's a women lead substack that she sends in your inbox and tells you everything about politics and gender happening around the world. So welcome, Akshi, and thank you so much for doing this. Second person I would want to welcome now is Ritu is working with Ladli Media. She's been a communication and behavioral communication specialist for a long time. She's also somebody who wants to take up projects in training other women to be in politics. And because she has like this grip on media and communications, how she wants to merge them together and bring a product out there in the world. Third person that I want to welcome is Shivika, who's the founder of Kavira, a very interesting initiative where she's in onboarding younger girls, catch them young with that mindset, and enabling them to become political, participants, giving them the tools and the knowledge and the capacity to become active influencers, again, I would say, in the political space. You can all talk about your work, and that is what this platform is about today. That what have you been able to do with that? So welcome, Shivika. Fourth person is Manasvi. She is with City Rantra and Nutty Nonsense, two another very interesting initiatives. One of them is about, again, empowering women to have women-led governance at the local level in Gujarat. Sheetal Rao is joining us from Karnataka. She runs her own political consultancy. She's also a media professional. Was a part, and all of these amazing women have been part of different programs, Samantha Ambassador Program and Pathways to Politics. So I welcome you all, and I give it over to Akshi for the moderation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gangshi, and welcome everyone to this session. I'm particularly very, very excited to speak to these four stellar women who are doing some incredible work. And we're also so excited because all of you are working in different parts of the country. And while there is a common theme of politics, there's also some difference in the kind of work you do. But before I begin, as Gangshi mentioned, it's whenever you say political entrepreneurship, it's a term that's exciting for some, confusing for some, very new for some, because both entrepreneurship and political entrepreneurship are relatively sort of new fields. While they've existed in some form in, since older times, some people can go back and say, look at people who were fighting during the freedom movement and say they were also political entrepreneurs of sorts. But the way technology has come in, people using data, media platforms, social media technology to manage elections, to look at politics differently, it's a very new field. And not just is political entrepreneurship new, but when we look at whether it's politics, whether it's entrepreneurship, and definitely when it's political entrepreneurship, these are also fields where you tend to see a lot of men. Each of them seem to be overpopulated with men. Not so many women you'll find in any of them. So we're very, very lucky that we have 4 of you doing some exciting work. So while Kangshi already had a brief introduction, to your work, I would start with a question so that all of you can also share a little bit more. And what I'm excited to know right up front to set the context for this conversation is to understand from each of you, what was that immediate motivation for you all to start your respective initiatives? Was it that one day you woke up and something happened and you said, okay, now I'm going to fix this and I'm going to start this? Was it an ambition you had for a long time and it just culminated naturally? Was it somebody who inspired you, nudged you to get started? So I'd like to hear from all of you. Let's get started with Sheetal because she's right up there on my screen right first. So Sheetal, you get the first go. Tell us more about how you started your political consistency. What was your immediate trigger?
Actually, hi everyone, and thank you, Conclave, for giving the platform to introduce ourselves. And it's kind of overwhelming for us, so that we put in a lot of work to come here, and being recognized is also a kind of success, which is like too good for us to keep us motivated and go forward. So the reason why I started this political entrepreneurship was like, initially like I said, I am a journalism graduate, so I wanted to be with the people and solve the issues actually. And then I realized that okay, being a media professional is not really helping you to solve the issues then and there. And somehow I had to get into this political consultancy where uh, you know uh, where we were trying to assess what is going on the ground, realize the trends and understand how politics is really working. And as I was working through it, then I realized okay, I am also a leader kind of a material, and maybe I can contest someday. And then I had the dream alive in me a lot. But what happens is, like, once you are in the field, you realize there are too many things that you need to actually cater to if at all you are like trying to aspire to be a leader. And then I realized okay, it's not so easy to become a leader overnight. So why don't I try something like getting myself engaged into the political sphere on an everyday basis, where I am with the leaders every day, trying to be a kingmaker, I would rather call, so that someday they will also find my potential as a leader, as a good communicator, where I can put my ideas across, who is able to even trying to kind of manage the whole scenario in a constituency and all these things. So I thought okay, this is the best way I get into politics. So I cannot, because if I told them that I want to become a leader and then I want to get into it because I want to solve people's issue, I mean, there are a lot of people out there to be my competitors, so I didn't want to become their immediate rival. So the best way for me to get into this politics was to become a political entrepreneur. So it was kind of a disguised entry into this sphere.
That's very honest and candid, Sheetal. Thank you so much. Shavika, coming to you, you run Kuvira, where you work with children, young adolescents, especially young girls, and you want to help them understand or look at politics as an aspirational choice. So how did it start? Like, was it just one day you started and you knew this is what you wanted to do, or was it a more gradual realization?
No, it was definitely gradual. Before I start, I obviously want to thank you, Akshi, and thank you, Kangshi,
for giving us this opportunity to speak. Although I am a little offended that you don't think we're celebrities already, but I'll deal with that. But I grew up in Bombay, and no one really spoke to us about politics while growing up. And so I think my journey towards political awareness started pretty late in life. I want to say in my early 20s. And I really, really wish that someone spoke to me at an earlier age. When I started voting because I just thought that's what a good citizen does. But I wasn't thinking critically. I wasn't thinking what the implications of my vote would be. And the more I started thinking about it, the more I wish someone spoke to me about this in a safe space without it being toxic or without it being polarized as such, just for me to understand what politics is, what my options are, and why I should be thinking before I vote. And then I went on to work a little more closely with the government later on in my life, and just saw that there are just no women around, right? Like the few women were far, and like they were very, very inspirational, but it was just so hard to find women you could work with, or women you could look up to within the government department that I was working. And I think that's basically when I started thinking a little bit more about what I can do to solve this gap. Given my skill sets, I worked with schools in the past, I worked with adolescent children in the past. So I just thought that this was working at a younger age was a natural fit for me. And I also saw that nobody else in the country was working for that age group as yet. In the West, we see this a lot. And you obviously actually probably know this better than I do, but in the US and Canada, there are organizations that work with younger girls to get them a little bit, to build political leadership from a really young age, from grade 1, right? We don't have that here. So that's what I'm attempting to do with Kuvira. I hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Shivita. And it's absolutely true, whether it's politics, but also many other career options which have some sort of, engagement with public life. We see research after research telling us that very young girls are interested, but somewhere by their teenage, their interest starts dissipating, and it's really nice to hear that you're working with them. I'm going to come to you, Ritu, next, because you are right now in that stage where you are, moving towards getting started with your journey of political entrepreneurship. So it's a very interesting vantage point as to you're sort of in the phase of the question that I'm asking as to what is driving you, what are the thoughts that are going on, what is motivating you for getting started with something of your own.
So probably amongst all the attendees as well as all the panelists, I'm on the higher side of the age group, right? So through my years, right from the time when I was a student to the time where I am right now, after almost two and a half decades of experience, what I've seen is that, like Shivika mentioned, women are sort of missing at the top levels, and even in decision-making phases, right? So they may be present. We said, fine, women are there, we're taking into cognizance what they're saying, but are we actually looking at it carefully? Do they truly have their voice? And that is something which I've noticed is missing, whether it is at homes or is it at workplaces, anywhere, So I used to, let's say, for example, go into organizations and go to train the top level management, right? My career, basically, I'm a communication professional, so I teach them how to, speak, how to take on media interviews and so on and so forth. So it really comes at the top level management. And they would look at me and say, oh, a woman, and it was, so where is so are you the head of the company? I say, yeah, I'm heading the company, I'm a woman and I'm heading the company. Oh, okay. So it was, I had to work probably double harder, like, literally twice more for them to look at me as a serious professional and pay respect to me rather than just go. That was a natural leaning towards a man, right? And then when I translate it to the kind of women that I wish to work for, I find that women's voices are not heard enough. And when I look at politics, and I'm not looking at electoral politics, but I'm really looking at the choices that we are making as citizens to make our communities and our societies really far more just at every level, whether it is caste, whether it is gender, whether it is age. I mean, it has to be a just society. So how do we do that? How can I keep 50% of my women out of the entire narrative and then expect it to be a just society, right? So that is what was my driving point. And having mapped the sort of I've been living in Lucknow now for almost 5 years. So I've been mapping the political dynamics out here. And you realize that women need to be center stage, voicing their opinions, participating more actively, and not just as part of political parties, but as a political process. And that is where I'm coming from with my concept. I hope that answers your question.
It does, and it's also very frustrating to know. And just a coincidence. Just a few days ago, I was hearing the interview of our finance minister, Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman. This was just after the budget, and she said exactly what you said, that as women in politics, we have to work twice as hard to get the same level of just acknowledgement, not even say appreciation, as men. And what really, as I look at as someone who reads and writes about this, it's just a little jarring to see how many of us women end up saying the same thing, even if we've not crossed our paths, because our experiences are so similar. Thank you so much.
One thing to it, and it's across cultures, okay? It's just not within our country. It's across culture.
Yeah, it is. And it's we can be surprised by the kind of stereotypes we have, but this kind of misogyny is sort of very stubborn and universal in many ways. Manasvi, coming to you, you're in Ahmedabad and you're doing some very interesting work. Would you like to tell us a little bit about how you got started with Sthiti Tantra? What was your immediate motivation?
Yeah, firstly, I just again wanted to thank you all. When Kangshi invited me, I was surprised and delighted because again, you're not used to that recognition that, okay, somebody is wanting you to talk about it, especially in the political space. So thank you, Kangshi, for doing this. My journey into this also has been very gradual. I've been born in can you guys hear me? I think the screen is stuck.
We can hear you.
Okay, yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. So I have been born and brought up in the city of Ahmedabad. It's a city where political conversations or even the culture of socio-political work is dead. It's not really very active. Gujarat as a space, because of the government that was here since a long time. But at the same time, my parenting was such that they asked me to be critical. They taught me to ask questions. They taught me to be an independent thinker, but not for politics. But when it comes to politics, it's what my dad would say is the right answer, or what my dad's opinion is the reality. Then I took humanities in 11th and 12th, and I had a class of around 40 women. And we were discussing history and politics because those were my subjects: history, politics, psychology, and having active debates about its impact on us. And I think that's when this critical thinking for also understanding my political opinions, understanding the socio-political culture around me, from the city level to the state level to the country level, came in. This is when I started my own youth collective, Nothing Nonsense. This was again from this whole motivation that as young women, we did not have a space to talk about our opinions or to even explore what our opinions are. And then gradually, when I was working more in the old city of Ahmedabad, again, old city, the demographic is such that it's very diverse with a lot of different intersections of identities. So when I was working there, I work at a community radio station too. I think all of us are somewhere related to media here. But community radio station is a more participatory form of communication. When we were working, I saw that women were not interacting with the local government system at all. They were either not empowered to do so, were not allowed to do so, or nobody had asked them what they were going through. But issues like water, sanitation, healthcare, they faced that differently. They faced that more profoundly, and there were no conversations around it. And that is when a thought inside me triggered that, we need to do something about it, which stemmed nothing on, which stemmed City Tantra, where we are trying to strengthen local governance for women by using participatory media, participatory communication to ensure that they mobilize, they interact with the local government system more. We work with women councillors and try collaborating with these two stakeholders to see how can we have a gender balanced governance in the city of Ahmedabad, in the old city. So, yeah.
All right. Thanks, Manasvi. Now, as I move on to my next set of questions, I just wanted to flag that because we have only 1 hour and we have a lot of things to discuss. So the next set of questions, I'm not going to ask each of you to answer all questions. So I'm just going to mix it up. And I'm also a little wary that I'm so excited to hear about your work that I will overstep the time. So I think we have to reverse moderate and stop me if I'm asking too many questions. Shevik, I'm going to ask the next question to you. And Sheetal, I would also like you to take this one up. Is the question of entrepreneurship, right? Like, you're doing some great work, but why did you choose to do this alone in an entrepreneurial initiative? Do you think this is something you couldn't have done with an existing organization? What was the, how did you choose to get started with something of your own? Shevika, first you, and then Sheetal next.
Sure. I think alone is also subjective. When you say alone, do you mean without a co-founder? Because honestly, if I found a co-founder, I would have asked them. You meant within an organization,
like
right?
starting something of your own, right? Like it could be
yeah.
I
think I was struggling to find organizations that had, I think there are many organizations doing fantastic work, but I wanted to focus on the younger age group, and I realized that many people were still hesitant to talk about politics with a younger age group below 18. That's the demographic I'm working with. Even now, when I go to schools or nonprofits, they're very hesitant to talk about politics. So they say you can talk about policy making, you can't talk about politics, right? Which makes my work really hard. But then I find some of these progressive organizations to work with. So one was that. But to answer your questions, I have been collaborating with a number of other organizations, because this might not fit into this might not be a priority for them. This is something nice to have or good to have, right? And the minute you realize that the organization you want to partner with does not look at the work you want to do as a priority, you feel the need to do something on your own, because otherwise it will just never be a priority or something that they want to do with all their heart and soul. You'll just be something that, oh, good to have, nice to have. Like, for example, a Teach for India, sure, it might be great for them to do this program, but is this their priority? Not at all. And that's why I think I felt the need to start something and do something on my own.
Thanks. And Sheetal, the same question to you, especially because you worked with other political consultancies before, and then you moved to working independently. So what was the reason for this choice?
So the basic first reason I would say is, which is very funny, there were too many men around. There were too many men around who were influencing all the decisions, and they never even bothered to think about women as voters. So all that they would say is like, women, right? Okay, we'll cater to them later, but then let us first see, the basic statement wherever I used to hear, whatever I used to hear from people was in a political consultancy, that women are very emotional rather than logical, and only men can actually be in this political consultancy or sphere, because they can actually figure out numbers and all these statistics, data relating to a election. And then I was wondering, like, oh, really? Do numbers work, or emotions, or the thing which the rapport which you build with people, is that what works on the ground? And I was like, okay. So, and then I tried kind of getting adjusted with that kind of mindset, but it didn't happen for a long time. I was sidelined, to be very truthful. Then I thought, okay, fine. I need to make my money. I need to create my identity as well. And also, I need to make them understand that, look, it is not so, yes, there you need to focus on logical reasoning as well. But you should also connect with people on an emotional basis as well, because that is when you will understand what people really need. Because if you're going to give people only numbers and statistics, they're not happy with it. Someone wants to listen to their problems. They just want us to listen to their problems most of the time. And then we women, we are very empathetic in nature, where you can easily understand what the other person is going through, and through that you can try to create some solution. And then I felt, okay, let me try doing this. And then when I had to put across this thought with a few of my friends, they were not really happy with it. They said, see, this is not at all going to be an easy game. You need to there are a lot of people already in the market who are men, who have multiple industries and things like that, and they have a lot of finance backup and things. So how are you going to survive? So I said, yes, it is a challenge for me, but I'm sure I'm going to be, one step ahead, just because I have that empathy. And then I know that women voters want to be heard, because they're just being sidelined. All that they do is they very well tell that during a budget session, they tell that, oh, when the gas price or the cooking, the grocery price is reduced, they're immediately happy and they vote. No, it is not like that. You have to look at them in a very sensitive manner. You should cater to most of the need. It's not just you're throwing crumbs at them and telling that, now because I did this, you vote for me. No, I wanted them to come into the mainstream and demand, telling that, look, these are also my basic things that you need to cater to. So I just want them also to be a voice, so that tomorrow even their one decision affects the whole governance system. So that is what my whole point was.
So thanks, Sheetal. I think this is an idea for Kankshi, that we need a full day session of trying to sort of critique how political consultancies are these very, very male heavy spaces, and women across the right from entry level to from data collection to making decisions to approaching politics is so heavily gendered, and I guess why they get most of their things wrong half the time. But I'm going to save it for another session.
Just want to come in and say exactly. I was quoting the data from an article that has been written by the previous moderator, like Divya. She talks about, like, if there are 50 senior campaign staff managers, there are only 4 women to it. And if there are 290 people on the ground staff, there are only 3 women to it. Like, so, from 2% to 8% is the representation, and it's so bare. And that is exactly why, having more political professionals and entrepreneurs is the way ahead. And what Sheetal is saying is, again, like, it's not even surprising anymore, and that is heartbreaking. So back to you, and yes, a full day session on that, actually.
Yes, sorry for the digression, but manage to speak. I'm going to come to you next. Is like I've sort of you, when you are an entrepreneur, and that too in the space of politics, when you reflect on this, how has this journey as an entrepreneur been? Is it, have there been days when you've really doubted whether this has been the right choice as a professional career? And if so, how do you sort of, what are those days like, and what motivates you to sort of stay on board and keep working with these women to strengthen governance in empathy?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. If I am mentioning some emotions that I've gone through, anxiety, fear, excitement, the satisfaction of working here, it's always a mix. In fact, just before the session, I was talking to my colleague, and we were mentioning how we're having such difficulties fundraising for this particular program, and this is my first attempt at fundraising. And I have my fellows, I have other people who are in the program who I have to think about, whose sustenance is also something that we need to think about. All of them women, all of them working so hard. But I think that is also what motivates. That sure, the fellows that are coming in, their stories of why they are doing this work, why do they want their communities, women to raise their voices, what do they want to do with counselors. I think those stories are something that constantly motivates me. And we have a habit here where our training spaces are we've created like a fifth space principles, and where we try having fun with each other, we play with different games with each other, we share a lot about what we're going through, what is happening, and as women we are able to relate to each other even if we're coming from very different backgrounds. And just that power of sharing, just that power of a collective action, and that magic that is created when 8 women like with coming together and working on the same issue or working for the same goal, that helps, and that's over any anxiety or any fear that we go through. So yeah, I think that is what is keeping me going, and I know that I'm seeing results. I know that this is slow work. I have the patience, and sooner or later we would be able to funds do much larger impact.
That is so nice to hear, honestly. I mean, I don't think so there's any career as fulfilling where just the fact that the outcomes and your support system keeps you going even through the bad days. Ritu, I have a question for you to understand. All of you have engaged with NETRI, and we're celebrating the work they've done, and you've been part of the programs. So I just wanted to understand from you, how has that engagement with NETRI helped you sort of clarify the kind of work that you want to do, and like any learnings or anything that stands out in particular?
Absolutely. So the thing is that, because of the career that I've had, and I've also been teaching at different institutes, when I came to the NETRI program, there was a lot of confusion in my head as to what exactly and how would I go about. What was not the confusion as much as how would I go about doing it, So what Manasvi was saying, funding was one issue. Then the other question that you'd asked, Shivika, about a network. So for me, it was a mix of whole lot of things, and plus a, a belief, would you be able to do it? I mean, is this, because when I talk to people, women are, not really top of the rung, and even more to the political aspect of it, the entire dynamics. When I go to people, I tell them that I want to do political empowerment. With what do you want to do? We understand that you want to do women empowerment, but what is the political empowerment of women? So just that concept, how would you discuss that, how would you take it? And that's the clarity I got through the NETRI program that I had attended. And I'm very grateful to Kamshi and also to everyone who was part of the cohort, to come out so openly with their ideas, which was a great learning thing for me. And then when I started tracking and doing the basic research around the subject, it just comes up. Oh, this is what you're going to be doing. Oh, this is what you're going to be doing. So it all just comes together very beautifully, right down from writing my own what is it that I really want to do, how do I envisage doing it. All of that clarity through the step-by-step process that we've done has been incredible.
That is so nice to know. I'm going to now build on this conversation. Shivika, it's you're next. So, I'm familiar with the work that you do, and I know that a lot of the work that you do, it could be done all by yourself. Of course, you do collaborate with organizations. And, as someone, I also, work alone independently, and running any initiative of your own is obviously not easy, because the kind of skill sets one needs to do a lot, the end-to-end work of an organization. And I'm sure everybody here will agree, these are not things that you are used to when you're working full-time in an organization, because there's a different sort of division of labor. So ever since you've started Kuvira, how have you had to upskill yourself, or how have you equipped yourself to be able to deal with it? Are there things you still struggle with, things that you are able to do better with time?
Yeah, of course. I feel like I have to upskill myself every single day. But I think one of the things I struggle the most with is social media. I don't understand how organizations do such a good job at it. I actually get someone I met on the Samantha program actually helped me with a social media for Kuvira also for a while. And she was literally like teaching me how to post a reel. So now when I post a reel myself, I really feel like I've killed it. And I feel like I've done such a great job. But it's small things like that, right? Like I just don't know how to do a reel, how to make a reel. And when we were analyzing the data, actually, you helped me so much in we did a study at Kuvira and we got about over 400 responses. And I remember meeting actually earlier this year and saying, I don't understand how to analyze this data that has come to me. And she helped me do it. So I think also the good part about this kind of work is everyone's just so willing to help you out. And I'm just learning from the amazing women in the community, and everyone's just been so helpful and with their time and just like approachable as well. So I think, yeah, different skill sets. I need to upskill all the time, but I've got a lot of help from different people in the community, which I'm very grateful for.
Ritu, I think you just wanted to say something. Yeah.
I just wanted to just build up on the point that Shivika said about leaning on each other for assistance. I think it gives you so much strength to know that you have people who are in a similar kind of a journey and with such diverse sort of experiences that you can constantly delve into that pool and look for answers to your own issues, right? So if I, like Shivika mentioned, social media, so I know who to go to now, or data. So I mean, a lot of times I do talk to Kangshi, or I used to talk to others before, just sort of sorting myself out with my own viewpoint. And I think that's very important because you're given a space where the people are not judging you. Otherwise you do have people who look at you, oh, what are you doing now? And I've had people telling me so many years and you're still looking at starting afresh. What's wrong with you? And I tell them, why shouldn't I reinvent myself all the time? And that's the space that you get with the NETRI programs. Yeah.
I don't know what is wrong with the people asking you that question. I felt it's so inspiring to see that, as you get, one evolves in their thoughts and their motivation, that we're able to do that. And it's more inspiring than something that one should be questioning. Manasvi, I'm going to ask you this next. I'm going to build on what both Ritu and Shivika have just said, that what has your experience been in terms of collaborating with other individuals who are working in this space or other small organizations? What kind of role has collaboration played for City Tantra, or is it something that you haven't had done much and are looking forward to, or have you already been doing that?
Yeah, I think collaboration has been the key for also upscaling myself, my own skills, and designing the program at large. So I started building this project or designing this project when I was 21, with not a lot of experience in the political field as such, with a lot of imposter that can a 21-year-old like me even do something like this. And that is when the assistance of so many people around me, the community that I got, really helped. Be it NETRI, be it the Drishti organization, my mentors here. And I'm also very sensitive about the fact that this experience, this whole program that I'm building is also a co-learning space for all of us, including myself. So the collaboration just doesn't work with different organizations and activists, but the fellows that I'm training, the participants that are there, I'm also learning so much day in, day out from them. And I'm still understanding about local governance, about what are the exact ground realities in not just in Ahmedabad but overall in India. And that is when people who have already worked in this space help so much. So we invite a lot of counselors, activists, and different people to come and train these fellows, be speakers in our own radio program, so that we are more equipped, so I think for knowledge building, for just a support, for co-designing this program, in all of these formats, collaboration has helped. And without collaboration, I don't think City Tantra could have been what it is right now and what we're trying to build.
Yeah, that's well said. And I can see, all of you panelists are doing such interesting work. And I hope that at the end of this and in the future, there's also a lot more collaboration and co-learning, between all of you and all of us here, because, there's such a convergence of value systems that I see. Sheetal, I'm going to ask you this question next, that when you mentioned how you got started, because it's also your way of getting into politics in a sort of disguised way, that you first get started and then hopefully can also get into leadership. uh, if I may ask you, do you have any role models when it comes to being a political entrepreneur, or also eventually seeing yourself as a political leader? Are there people who are working right now or who've been there active in the past who really inspired you? Whom do you take sort of inspiration from?
The thing is, like, yes, I have many role models. The first thing is, like, if you remember late Jayalalitha, she was a very strong iron woman. Like, yes, there are a lot of controversies surrounding her, but it's okay. But apart from that, she was a very strong person in the field of politics who made, such a huge space for herself. And apart from that, there are many other people who have been such a great support to me. Like, for instance, I have a brother, kind of a colleague turned brother, who has always been a support to me, like guiding me every now and then, like how to go about, like, I mean, in a very subtle way, he keeps telling me, like, what to look out for, what are the things that you can actually work on. The funny thing is, like, though there were a lot of men who were like pushing me away, there are many men who have been actually been supporting me as well. And so that is one person, my colleague, who turned to be my really good elder brother. So he's one, and then I have many reporters on the field who have been really supportive of me. Like, they every time I come up, I go to them with a problem or try to ask for a solution. They always tell, "Ma'am, you can always do this. It shouldn't be such a issue." So what has happened is, every time I see these few people, they turn out to be role models to me, because every single thing they have, it's very simple. You don't have to go to your book, and then, or you have to read a huge biography or something like that. Everyday solutions, those have inspired me a lot, in fact.
That is, I hope there's no issue with my audio, right? I thought there was a slight glitch, but let me know in case my voice. Sheetal, thank you. And I thought, what you said is so important, that it's there's a lot of inspiration to be found every day, and it's generally, I think it's a fortune to have people around you like that, because as an entrepreneur, you definitely need a lot more things to keep you going a lot of times when you are by yourself. I'm going to, mindful of time, I'm going to now come back to, like moving towards closing the conversation, so that we can leave about 5-10 minutes for questions if there are any. And this is a question which is going to be open to all of you. If, so now there are people watching this. If there was someone else in the audience, a person, a woman, a man, anybody who wants to now get started, they have an idea, they want to be political entrepreneurs. Is there some learning or advice that you would like to share with them, something that they should keep in mind at this stage when they're just getting ready to start this journey? Manasvi, this time I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think what is important when you're starting a political journey in entrepreneurship is you need to have your why very clear. And that why needs to be personal, and of course about whatever political, socio-political environment is around you. But your why has to be very clear, because the why will inspire you constantly, and the hurdles that do come in, when you have your why very strong, that would always sort of motivate you to continue and even go ahead with the hurdles. And of course, finding your own support system and community, because this work can be lonely. You need to have people around you who support you, because we all need it. So finding that community and having your why very clear is, I think, advice that I would like to give.
Thank you, Manasvi. Ritu, next to you, what would your advice be if somebody is just considering getting started as a political entrepreneur?
There are a couple of things that I'd like to share from my own learning. First, have faith in yourself. I think that's very critical, that you have faith in your ability, in your vision, and what is it that you bring to the table. People are going to be around who are going to be telling you, no, 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 you can't do it. I think you just have to learn to be completely blinkered to their point of view. That is one thing. Other thing is that just don't be in a rush to jump in and do something, just because it's come. So just wait it out, test it out, talk to people, ultimately develop it bit by bit, and then study the environment. I think that's very important, because sometimes there might just be a mismatch. And that's something that I've kind of been realizing, that the space in which I wanted to work is probably not the best space. There is more requirement elsewhere, so I'd much rather be there, And so which is equally exciting. So these are just few things which I would share as my point of view. Just don't let people put you down ever. Have faith in yourself. That's the critical one.
Thank you, Ritu. I'm coming to you next. What would your advice be?
Who's the you?
Sheetal.
Okay, I didn't hear.
Me? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So most of the times what happens is you will feel that it's a dead end. You feel that it's done. There's no more, you feel that there's no way around it all. But then that moment you just have to just breathe and tell that no, there is solution. Because I'm sure as women, you manage the house very beautifully, right? That is what I've been telling most of the people, that when a woman can manage a house so beautifully, even when it comes to the sphere of work or a constancy, she can do much more wonders. So there are solutions around, and I don't think so we should be giving up like so easily, because just persistence is the key, is what I would say. If you are just patient enough to push yourself forward in times of crisis, or when you feel that okay, there is no way at all, I think it will pay off someday, for sure. Because the more consistent we are, because the people who are around us, who keep observing us, also will understand that okay, she's not giving up. Let us also consider her seriously, because if we are also going on and off, they will think okay, she's very easily intimidated.
I think persistence is the key, though I'm not sure all women are great at managing the house. I don't know if that's the burden I want women to carry with them. Shivika, last words from you on in terms of, though this is not the last question, but in terms of what would you tell someone who's just getting started on this journey?
I actually have an opposite recommendation than what Ritu suggested. Not to the part where she said believe in yourself. Of course, you should believe in yourself and never let anyone question your intentions or whether you're worth what you're doing or whether you're the expert. But I do think that you should just start. I don't think you should wait, because according to me, there's never a right time. You'll never know enough. You'll never know everyone. And I'm just saying that from my experience, because I honestly had 15 reasons as to why I shouldn't start. But if that one reason, like Manasvi said, if your why is important or strong enough, everything else can keep changing. But your why, you're doing what you're doing, will remain constant. You'll learn, you'll grow, you'll make mistakes, but who doesn't make mistakes? And once you start, I feel like it kind of, then you're in it, and then you're like, now I've got myself in it, I might as well do it. That's how I look at it, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Ritu, quickly, before I just ask.
Just a quick one. So just that, Shivika, I didn't mean that you just wait on it forever, but there is always a dilemma, right? You have in you. I mean, I just feel that it's important that if, let's say, you decide what is the percentage. Like in my case, I just needed certain things to be absolutely on the point, and then I would go and jump into it. And I'd much rather spend some time studying, reading about it, understanding, rather than jumping and then coming out and say, oh, ek aur aurat aayi aur chali gayi kind of thing. So So that thing I'd like to carry as well.
I think it's more about, what you're saying, Ritu, is just spending more time in understanding, getting clarity of the why. And I think once you've done that, then you're always ready to jump in. Before I ask the last question, we're talking about women in politics. Of course, politics we can look at politics in different ways, as contestants, as campaigners, as people working in consultants. But when we look at women's representation, we just had the Interparliamentary Union's latest report get released over the weekend. And as compared to last year, we have 0.6% more women in parliament this year. So the rate of progress has been, we sort of improved by less than 1 percentage point every year. We have now about 26% women who are MPs all over the world. We, of course, know at state levels this is going to be much worse. And today's, of course, we're having this conversation on International Women's Day. We're all working in politics. So I just wanted you all to reflect for a moment and just sort of, this is going to also be the last question from my side, and we'll see if we can quickly take any audience questions. That on Women's Day, given the situation of the world of politics as it is today in India and globally, what is your wish list? If we were, what would you like to see? If one thing you could change, one thing that you wish could happen, or what would that be? I know we can all have really, really long lists, so I just request you all to sort of identify one or two things that would be your wish list for today, for Women's Day 2022. Sheetal, would you like to get started with this?
Yeah, so if at all there is one big wish, I would say, which is like going to be manifested very soon, if at all universe is listening to me, I only wish that every small everyday hurdles or these societal pressures or environment pressures don't really influence us as political entrepreneurs or campaigners or contestants as well to get into this field, because that usually makes us feel, am I really worth it? So that somehow, if that kind of stigma is kind of taken away, I think we'll see many more beautiful women coming into this field.
Sure, thank you. Shivika, next to you, what is your wish list for today?
Very simple. It's to normalize talking to young girls about politics. That's all my wish is for now.
That's well said, and that's clearly that the why is very, very clear in your head. Ritu, what about you?
So for me, it's just that we move beyond the binaries, and as women have more faith in ourselves, I think everything else will just follow them.
Great. And Manasri, what is your wish list?
I think just more grassroots support and mobilization of women, because just grassroots work, and that seems like the solution for collective action and impact.
Great. And Kanshi, I'm going to ask you this question as well because you're on the screen. And why not hear from you too? What is your wish?
Wish list is big, but to just
one wish.
Just one wish, just to begin with, is we right now have a community of say 400 women like Shivika, Manasvi, Sheetal, and Ritu. If we can quickly and together with all the initiatives take that from 400 to 4,000 and from 4,000 to 40,000, and before 2024 there will be 543 constituencies going to election in 2024, and my wish list is that in each constituency there should be one woman contesting. So if we can achieve that together, that's all I wish for.
That's a great way to also close this discussion. So, Kanchi, do we have time for questions, or would you like me to just?
We do have time for the questions. Of course, you were a great moderator. You have left 5 minutes here. But the only problem is that we are unable to mute participants. I have one question, जो कि मुझे सबसे पूछना है. Entrepreneurship, the buzzword, politics in itself a buzzword, but when you are doing a political entrepreneurship project, and anybody can answer this, right? Like the sustaining, the branding, the mobilization of resources, how do you think it's a new it's a new space, it is. But what are the challenges and also the opportunities? I think we always talk about challenges, but what do you think also is the opportunity to sustain and brand, or mobilize? So Shivika or Manasvi, because Manasvi is doing a fundraising and Shivika has been there, so anybody can start and anybody else can jump in as well. Yeah.
Before anybody answers, I think you've just opened a little panel. You've asked them quite a tough question, like a lot of thoughts that could come here. So everybody just keep it like short and brief so that we can hear from all. Yeah, but anybody can
Yeah.
go first.
Yeah, I think I like to go first. For me, it has definitely been a big opportunity. In fact, because I've started working early and I have been in the social media space and was aware of branding as such, that has worked as a wonderful asset. Where the branding is actually really helping us in communicating with people about our problems, and the branding and social media work, advocacy, is also translating into fundraising, and we're being creative. We're also having fun with what we want to do with fundraising. We're doing art events, we're collaborating with more people, and making this a fun process rather than it being very anxiety oriented. So these are definitely some opportunities that I see. Of course, there are challenges, but I have been lucky to have a team and a mindset where we are looking at these as opportunities more than challenges.
Thanks, Manasvi. Sheetal, do you want to take that next?
What I have basically done is that rather than promoting my brand, I'm trying to present myself as a brand, because the moment a woman enters into the sphere, they all that people do is, oh, someone has come in. What does she want to do? I mean, how? What is that? What kind of background does she has? All these things, that curiosity. That curiosity is what is I'm trying to use as my opportunity to get into this sphere. I'm just trying to use my whatever people tell that this is your negative. I'm just trying to find a solution to that and try to create that itself as an opportunity, because the more I insist on brand as my company brand or the other things, I'm having immediate rivals from the bigger giants. So what I did was I instead started presenting myself, because the more I present myself, I'm presenting my ideas, my ideology, my kind of thoughts. So when people come to me, they're rather coming directly to me. So where I'm trying to be more, personal when I talk to them, and then build a rapport with them. So people who don't disagree with me also, at one point they try to understand, okay, she has her own point of view, or rather they agree with me, and that's how I'm creating an opportunity for myself.
That's very good to hear, Sheetal. Thanks for sharing that. Shivika, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, just quickly, I think I'm taking a backseat from traditional fundraising at this point for several reasons. For that, we need another panel. But I think what the opportunity is to leverage partnerships in interesting ways with organizations that are already established, whether that's through their networks or through their social media communities. But how can you work with organizations that are way more established than you are? To get inroads into whatever you need, and I think that's the route I'm trying to take.
Yeah, thank you. And that's another idea for you for a panel, Kamshi, on financing either as candidates or consultants. Anything, Ritu, that you'd like to add?
For me, it's just a question of a barrier to entry would be that you're not from the community that you're wanting to work with, for example. So how do you build up that acceptance within that community? I can't just go and say, oh, I want to politically empower you. They say, okay, what do you mean? How does it matter? So those kind of conversations, how do you build the trust? That is something that, there is an opportunity there for you to engage in creative formats of conversation, of activities. So yeah, it can be a barrier as well as an opportunity, both.
Thanks. Kamshi, I hope they've been able to answer some of the things that you asked them. Yeah, do we have more questions? because otherwise I am going to say wrap this session up.
No, we do not, like, we, as I said, that there is a technical
Yes,
error with raising hands. But anybody who wants to follow their work, please reach out to all of them on Twitter. Kavira, Ritu, Motial, Shavika, Sheetal, and Manasvi, City Tantra, Nati Nonsense. You've heard these names, and we are also, streaming this live on YouTube. You can leave some questions there. Hopefully, participants can come and answer there if they have the bandwidth and they, like, would like to connect with you. But thank you so much for being on this panel, everyone, and speaking so well, and just like being so honest about where are you all coming from, and these journeys. Amazing to hear, everyone, since what you have been able to do in last 1 year. It's fantastic, and all the very best. And I look forward to speaking with you all very soon. So celebrating Netris, and taking my statement back, you all are really the celebrities. Okay.
Finally.
yeah, so that's I thought.
The real celebrities, not the faux pas.
So that's exactly what I had for my conclusion right now. So we've had, like, I think this has been a stellar panel. Simply also, even though there are four of us, there's someone who is starting, who's beginning, Ritu, who's going to has worked for a long time and is now going to take the plunge. Then we have Manasvi, who started early. We have Shivika, who's working with young children, adolescents, so that they can aspire to get into politics at a later life. Sheetal has her own plans, and she has found that working through political consultancies, maybe she can take the plunge herself and then grow as a leader. I wish all four of you all the very best in the work that you're doing and you will be doing. Just to sum up some of the advice that you have, anybody watching this who wants to follow in their footsteps, as all four of them told you, have a very clear reason why you want to get into this. Obviously, this route has its challenges, it has its own joys, but you have to be very clear as to why you want to get in. Take your time figuring that out, but once you figure it out, just get started, as Shivika would say. Have a community of support, it will help you, but also have your own faith intact, because the community is helpful, but you need to be very, very clear and fully confident about why you're doing, and not let people, discourage you easily. And don't give up so easily. As Sheetal says, stay persistent, be patient, and keep at it. Thank you all. This has been such a great way to celebrate Women's Day. A very, very happy International Women's Day to everyone. I hope you have a great year ahead, and looking forward to everyone's work. With that, I'm going to close this. Thank you for joining in. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
you.
You've been a wonderful
Bye.
moderator.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you once again to all of you.
Yeah,
Hi,
and
Rania.
at 4:30 we see in the last panel women as policy influencers. So all the attendees here, you can wait it out or you can come back again. But thank you so much. See you around. Bye bye.
Bye.
Oh, nice.
And you guys spoke when there was a 20 minutes delay in your class.
तेरे को बड़ा पता है.
What update?
ये क्यों ले रही थी आप? Okay.
ହଁ ଦଉଛି ଆଉ ଟିକେ ପରେ ଦଉଛି
Hello.
Hi, Ananya. Can you hear me?
How are you? How's it going?
Great. Yeah, you don't look like you're on the field at all.
Just got back after 6 hours of training.
Oh my God. Yeah, I can see it on your face. I was being sarcastic. You didn't catch on the pun.
I got
Your voice went off. Hello?
Yeah, we're losing you, Ananya.
Okay. Okay. Yashasvi, can we do a quick mic check? And who's Lipsa? Where are you, Lipsa? I can't see you.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but I can't see you. Can you please put on your
Okay.
video? Who else is Anchal? I can't see Anchal also.
Yashasvi, we can see you.
Yeah, we can see you.
Yeah, nice.
Anchal, we can see now. Perfect. And where is Lipsa? Lipsa needs to come. So should I disable my video for a moment? Just because there's space. We're just using new technology. We've become a pro at it after 4 hours now, I think. Oh, this is getting recorded. Just a moment, I'll stop recording this. Okay. Yeah, we'll give a couple of minutes for people to join and just want to do this tech check. Hi, Lipsa.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. And now I have lost Anshul, but I'm sure Vishali will take care of this. So what I will do, yes, oh, amazing. All of us are on the screen. Yay. Okay, and sorry, Ananya is smiling and giving me that slide, but this has been the this is victory. I feel I have arrived if the tech is working properly. But welcoming everyone, and before that, I'll just start the live. Are we live? Okay.